Hello, good morning everyone. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Please mute your volume, okay? How was life all these 3 months? It's been quite a long holiday, isn't it? So we are going to start with the presentation. I think you can see it on your screen. Uh, the thing is, how do we create an impression? Okay, the relevance of non-verbal communication. It's a part of your module 5. We have gone through this, but I just thought I'll go through it once again. Now, what are the components of non-verbal communication? You have a list over here: kinesics, that's body language; chronemics, time; haptics, language of touch. Please go through it. I don't want to repeat it again. Proxemics is the language of space; olfactics, language of smell or odor; oculesics, language of eyes; and paralinguistics, which is also known as meta language and silence. Next, now just look at the pictures that are on your slide. The 5 different components: clothes and accessories, it's also known as grooming; your facial expressions, eye contact, okay, your gestures and posture. Now look at the picture on your slide. The boy, the two postures: one, he is not sitting properly, and what does it convey? It conveys a lack of interest, okay, and probably he is not intent into listening. Probably he is there just because someone asked him to be there. Look at the second boy who is sitting straight. Okay, that tells us his posture. His posture is indicative that is interested to listen. Okay, he wants to learn something, or probably he is very listening in a very active manner. Now the gesture, and look at the facial expressions of this girl. So without, what does it tell you? Can anybody answer this question? What, you can unmute your audio and you can, anyone can answer if you want to. Look at the picture of the face of the girl. What does it tell you? Two or more people also can answer because perceptions are different. No two people sees any given thing in the same manner. Okay, we perceive things differently. Anybody? No one? Come on. Someone unmute and you can answer me.
He could be upset about something.
Upset about something. Okay. Varsha, thank you. Anybody else? Does she look? I mean, I don't think she looks upset to me. Anyway, anybody else?
Convincing someone.
Like what? About what? Anybody else? I think,
Getting what she wants.
yes. Even I think the same. Like, I think, like, she's this child is throwing a temper tantrum. Probably she wants something. She's been denied it. Her parents have said her no, probably. And look at the way she's pouting her lips. Okay, look at her facial and look at her eyes. She's concentrating probably on the face of her parent. Okay, and look at her mouth, pouting mouth, I mean lips. That is, she wants something very badly. It's like, no, I want it. You understand? So, three of us, I think Srivatsa, Varsha, and who was the other one who answered? Four of us read four different things in this body language. So it's very, very important, and that's exactly why, see, before we talk to someone, before we, even before we interact with someone, we look at a person, isn't it? We look at a person, and by looking at them we get a lot of impressions. So that's the exactly the reason why your clothes and accessories should always go hand in hand. Okay, and that's one of the main reasons they ask you to dress appropriately when you're attending an interview. Because see, suppose if you dress like a punk, for example, you don't look professional, do you? You won't come across as a professional person. And the gesture, okay, and then the way you sit, the posture, the way you walk, okay, all these things give a wealth of meaning in a communication scenario. So you need to be very, very careful of your body language. You need to be aware of your body language. You need to know that without your being aware, your body speaks to people. That is, if people are looking at you, you are speaking to them, your body is speaking to them. And this is, your not being aware of your body speaking to people is known as leakage. I believe I have told this in class. We need to be very careful of these things. Next. I think this is stuck. 1 second, please hold on. Okay. Now, we have, I'm sorry, different facial expressions here. See, each one tells about one thing or the other. Come on now, I want you to give me an idea of what you think of these facial expressions. Come on, the first one. Hurry up, this is an informal kind of class and we are meeting after such a long time. I guess you can be quite free with me, and you are at your home, isn't it? So there's nobody listening other than your parents, or if anybody is there. Come on now. The first one. But just look at all the different expressions. One face, look at the different expressions the child is conveying. Is any one the same? Each and every one is different, isn't it? Hello? Are you there? Are you there? Come on now. Just randomly you can give me 1, 2, 3. Of course, I should have named. I should have numbered the expressions. Okay, Faiza. You were saying something? Okay, so from surprise to shyness to mocking, anger. Do we have anywhere the child is angry here? Oh yes, he's making a grimace. You can see a grimace. Yes, 1 or 2. But mostly, just go through all the expressions. Children are happy by nature. Children are more positive by nature, isn't it so? Don't you feel it? See, the sad or the grimaced faces are expressions are very less here. Almost all are, happy, positive expressions. So next time when you're speaking to someone, make sure that you have a pleasant facial expression. Smile. It doesn't need anything to smile, isn't it? So we'll move on to the next one. There is 1 second. Okay. We finished with the body language. I haven't gone into clothes and accessories. I just thought, since we just have a minute, 1 hour. Okay, then we move on to the time language. What do you remember anything about the time language? The questions I had asked in class? The way we maintain time speaks a lot about our personality, okay, our attitude. What do we think about life as a whole, or how professional we are, how dedicated we seem. All these things is how it tells about you, how the way you maintain your time. See, I told all of you to log in by 10. Okay, the session would start at 10, but actually there were only some 54 of you who had logged on time. And those, I'm not berating the ones who joined late, but next time, for any session, I don't mean mine, any. Suppose if you are given a time, make sure you are there on that time. Okay, that's very important. Yes, yes. Yes? Someone wanted to ask me something? Please go ahead. So you need to be very careful, or else people will think about you in a negative manner. That's why I started at 10. I didn't wait for all to be there. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that those who are in time didn't waste their time by my delay. So that's about time. And especially, like I've told you, we Indians, we don't look up to time as we should. Okay, and it's high time we learned that very essential quality of personal management. Next is the language of touch. Like I told you, we might speak a lot, but touching someone, you really have to be there. Yes, and it conveys a wealth of emotions. It conveys emotions to the power of infinite. Again, it depends, it's very, very culture specific. Okay, the language of touch is very, very culture specific. You need to be, unless you know somebody's culture very properly, you're not supposed to touch anyone anywhere. And especially when it comes to touch, you need to be aware of the person whom you are interacting with, even to in a communication scenario, so that they don't get you wrong. So touch is a touchy set of symbols, and we need to be very much careful when we are indulging in touching people. And of course, in our Indian culture, touch is taboo. We don't touch people. I mean, we don't even touch our family members. It's very rare that we do so. Next, we move on to proxemics. That's the language of space. It is demarcated into 4 zones. The intimate, where the space is just 6 to 18 inches. It's very, very close. And here again, you have two, with the near intimate and the distant intimate. In the near intimate, there is zero space between the two participants, probably like a child holding a mother holding a child, or a child holding a pet, or a doll or whatever. Or it can be even couples, when they are hugging each other, that's zero space, that's near intimate. And the distant intimate is family, very, very close family. Can you see the concentric circles which are drawn? Can you see that picture? So that is the near intimate zone, wherein the space is not more than 16 to 18 inches. Next, you move on to the personal space. Your very close friends, your personal space, where the space maintained is within 18 to 48 inches. Next, move on to the social space. Okay, after that, this is the social. The first concentric ring is intimate, the second is the personal, the third is social, like in your class, or a cafe or whatever, and the last one is the public space. This takes up anywhere from 4 to 12 feet. And I'd like you to remember one thing here. See, for your exams, since it's MCQ, they might ask you questions like this. Proximus is also known as dash, or language, the other name for language of space is dash, or the language of space or proxemics is divided into dash zones. How many zones? 4. Okay, the intimate space, the space occupied in an intimate zone is dash, 6 to 18 inches, or 6 to 1.5 feet. 18 inches, they might give you as feet also. Okay, and 18 to 48 inches would be anywhere from 1.5 to 4 feet. So they might give you this is how you might expect questions. The space occupied by people in a personal zone or a personal space, according to the language of space, is dash, and they'll give you 4 options. Okay, so just thought I'll tell you how the questions might appear. Next, am I going very fast, or is it all right, my pace? Someone? Am I going very fast? Anybody? Anyone can answer. Dikshit? Varsha? Am I going very fast, or is it
No,
all right?
ma'am. It is all right, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next we move on to the language of space. Sorry, smell or odor. I don't think I need to explain anything here. This is a very strong trigger to dredge up your past emotions. Okay, language of smell, olfactics. It is not like, it is a little different than other non-verbal languages. For the reason that it acts as a very fast, a strong trigger in bringing up, dredging in the sense bringing up your past emotions. It jogs your memory like no other non-verbal language. For example, when you probably you're walking on the road and you're in a bus or a car or you're moving, okay, and then suddenly you can smell a kind of oceany or fishy smell. You immediately think of oceans. I mean, this happens with me. That's why I'm giving this idea. Or you are moving, you're in a mall and you can smell cheese. So suddenly you feel like eating a pizza. Has that happened to you? Anyone? Has that happened? Because it happens with me. And when you enter the mall, you can smell potatoes and fat, and then you'll know that they are frying onions or potatoes, fryums or so on. So we identify a lot many things just by the smell of something. And I believe I had given you the example of how jasmine. Do you remember that example? Invoked the image of death in one of the participants when I was attending a national seminar. Do you remember, any of you? Do you want me to share that with you now? Or do you remember? I don't want to repeat myself. Do you remember, any of you? No? Yes? See, I can't see you. You can see me, but I can't see you. Anyone? Okay, so the first picture is, can you at least describe the pictures that are there on the slide? Smelling probably coffee, heavenly smell, then bad odor, and then this girl is smelling the lily, fragrance, enjoying the fragrance. But look at the facial expressions. The first one shows a tranquility, probably in the morning. The second one shows a kind of, enjoying the fragrance, and the third one has kind of puckered up a face. Next, we move on to the language of eye and just read the quote that is there. What does it mean? What does the quote tell you? Do you believe that emotions show in your eye? Do you believe that your eyes are laden with emotions? Do you? They are the doors of your, there is a saying that eyes are the doors to the human soul. Okay, Shama? Yes. Oh, Savan, why can't you talk? Why are you chatting? Savan, you used to be very boisterous in class. What happened to you on the in this audio? I mean, meeting. Come on, speak.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Do you think so? Any examples that you can share with the class?
Not like so.
Okay, I can tell a thing or two. You used to sit in the class doing what not, and your eyes, kind of not bothered with the class, Oh, we know all this, ma'am. And anyhow, this is for, MCQ. So we'll study at the last minute. That kind of a thing. Was that what you were thinking when you were up to your antics? Saman?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
How is life now? Okay, I'm getting too personal. Let me move onwards. So, when we really like to interact with someone, look at the picture where the couple are together. Look at the lady's eyes. No, her eyes mirror her affection towards the person who is sitting in front of her, doesn't it? So you feel that, probably he is a husband or someone very closely related to her. And it is very true that your emotions mirror, especially when you're smiling at someone, okay, when you're wishing someone, or when you don't want to speak something that you want to probably which you feel might make you think people that you are rude or something. So you need emotions are definitely mirrored in somebody's eyes. What you think, they are the mirrors of your mind or soul. And sometimes when we are unguarded, if people are watching us, okay, they can see your emotions mirroring in your eyes. Next, we move on to paralinguistics or meta language. When I had shared this video, this is from your module 5, someone had asked, like, they wanted more explanation, so I had given it there. Now, it's the way you speak, okay? In a communication scenario, it's not just what you speak, it is the way you speak which gives meaning to meaning to whatever you have to say. The volume, how loudly that you speak, the speed. That's why sometimes, I ask whether I am going at a breakneck speed. The way you pronounce certain word, intonation and pronunciation. Articulation is being very clear in what you want to put across. Pauses. Suppose if there are a lot many pauses like mm, and if there are a lot of pauses, what happens is, suppose if I did that, what would you think? What would you think? You'd think that I don't know what I'm trying to tell you. Probably I'm not prepared. Okay, probably I just got this from somebody else. I didn't make this PPT on my own. So I'm going through it now. So have a doubt regarding certain things, isn't it? So whatever it is, pauses, they are also known as fillers. uh, you need to pause. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't pause. You need to pause when there is a need. Otherwise, if you go on giving a lot of pauses, they are known as fillers, and it shows you in a very poor light. Okay, your tone friendly. Savan, was my tone friendly or unfriendly?
Really, ma'am.
Okay, so because I was smiling, and of course you can see me. If you couldn't see me, probably we can detect smile in the tone of a voice. Okay, so it's again paralinguistics or meta language. It makes up for 38% of the pie chart in a communication scenario, and it is, please remember, it's not what you say, it's how you say it is going to make the impression. Next, we move on to the soul of non-verbal communication, that's silence. By keeping silent, some of you, convey so many emotions. If you are not happy with something, instead of speaking something, you might choose to remain silent. So that is one thing. And suppose when you are very angry, most of the times it is advised that you should not speak, because we might end up coming up with unwanted things that later we might regret. But then you can't take back whatever you have said, isn't it? And I'm sure when you left your 10th and PU, did you have the book wherein you took quotes from your friends? Did you have that?
Slam book.
Yeah, what do you call it?
Slam book.
In that, I remember when I was, when I finished my graduation, like, I remember to this day a quotation which one of my friends had written. Words are like eggs. Okay, eggs once broken, words once spoken cannot be forgotten. To this day, I remember. Like, how many years are over? So, silence can be a source of strength. It can also be a source of weakness. When you see someone hurting somebody, or ill treating someone, that at that point of time you definitely need to raise your voice. You definitely need to be heard. Silence can be a source of strength as well as that of a weakness. So this is the communication pie chart. Just look at this. I remember explaining this in class once, but it was on the board, so I just thought, I'll use the PPT this time. Body language makes up the 55%. Your eye contact, your expressions, the way you stand, the gestures that you make, the way you look, okay, and the proximity, how near or far you are when you're speaking. That goes to make 55%. Next, words. then actual words are just 7%. The way you, I mean, your choice of words. 38% goes towards the way you speak, whether it's calm or mellow, and pronunciation, enthusiasm, all these inflections of your voice. What do you mean by inflection of somebody's voice? Can you see the word here? Inflection. Inflection is the rhythm of somebody's voice. See, if a person is not well, he'll say, suppose if I'll give you an example now. Hello, good morning everyone. How are you? Hello, hello. You see the inflection? It's very, it's a taking a downward arrow. It's going down. The pitch is going down. So that means, probably I'm not interested or, feeling unwell. So, and when you're happy, when you speak, hey, hi, how are you? You see the inflection? It's on a rising note. So these things tell a lot about whatever you are communicating. So you need to be very careful of these things. Like I said, how you say it takes 38%. Actually, how you say it takes 93%, because there'll be people will be looking at you, okay, and they'll be listening to you, and that's exactly why I wanted my video. I wanted you to have a look at me, and what you say. Nobody remembers the words. Sometimes I think, I don't know whether I have done it in your class or not. Sometimes if I get really angry, I scold. And who get the scoldings? The students who are in class. I'll be scolding the ones, I mean, bad mouthing the ones who are absent. But who gets to listen to it? It's the ones who are present in the class. And then I realize, okay, I am wrong over here. So what you say is not that important as to how you say it. So this is how we make an impression. This was the title of the presentation. How do we impress people? Majority is your body language, 55%. The way you stand, the way you dress, the way you look, your appearance, okay, the way you have groomed yourself, your eye contact. Are you maintaining eye contact? Yes or no? All these things, they go towards creating a lasting impression. And that's why they say first impressions are the last impressions, because out of 100, 55% is seen when you walk in. Next, the way you speak, whether are you smiling, the way you are speaking, it goes towards adding 38%. That exact words nobody remembers, only very few probably, but you can still mellow. Suppose if you are scolding someone, if you smile, probably the pinch or the, how do I put, the sting is taken away. The sting is minimized. So now this is how we express ourselves, and it's what you don't say that people take into action. And this is, language was a recent development, okay, but the way we speak with our body, eyes, energy level, this was there even long ago, before the language was invented. So thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Do you have any questions?
Thank you, ma'am.
Any questions, anybody? I'm open to questions right now. Gautam, any? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Nobody has any questions? Did you enjoy today's session? Next session, I'm going to bring something about, gender equality and so on. Something about to do with society, peers and so on. But I just thought I'll start with the syllabus today. Any questions?
Ma'am, when college will start, ma'am?
Oh, this wasn't the question that I was expecting. Uh, Probably even we don't have a clear picture, but we are in college very much so. We come in the morning and leave at a little early, of course. and we conduct a lot of webinars, and classes. But thankfully, I finished the syllabus. Do you want to know something about the syllabus that which you haven't understood? Any one of you? See, the questions, like I told you, it would be in the form of MCQs, and you need to go through the notes, okay, whatever I have given. Because if possible, I'll upload the notes. I'll take I'll scan whatever we have and I'll upload it. You need to go through the notes, because in between the lines, you might get some MCQs. Okay, how we non-verb, for example, a question might appear like this: non-verbal language um, is more important than verbal language. Yes, no, maybe, not, or wrong, none of the above. So what do you think is the answer? Non-verbal language is not as important as verbal language. Yes or no? Is it a yes or a no?
No, ma'am.
No. What was my question? Non-verbal
No.
language is?
Ma'am, it is more. Yeah, as equally as important as verbal
No, it is
language.
more important than non-verbal. Non-verbal is more important than
Oh,
verbal.
okay.
It takes up
Yes,
97%.
yes.
I'm
Yes,
sorry,
ma'am.
93%. So that's what the questions will be. Of course, see, I have told this in the very beginning. The syllabus looks to be very easy. Okay, it looks to be very easy. It is easy, but then the questions might be a little confusing. And you need to be very clear of your communication, whatever the theory of it, to answer the questions. So suppose if the question is negative, non-verbal is not as important as verbal, then the answer will be negative, no. Non-verbal is more important than verbal, yes or no, then it's yes. That's why you see, when it's a theoretical class, probably you might not remember most of what we speak. But when you're looking at a PPT, chances are you'll remember more, because you're looking at pictures there, isn't it? You're looking at pictures, and even if you remember, if you forget what I have told you, if you remember the pie chart, do you want to go? Do you want me to go back to that? Yes. Yes. Anybody? I can hear somebody talking in the background. Why don't you ask it loudly? Kevin Zono, you
Yes,
have any
ma'am.
questions?
The pie chart again.
You want the pie chart again? Okay, good. 1 second. Oh, I'm sorry.